All right, today we're diving into something truly mind-blowing. It's a new AI model called MetaboLM, and it could completely change the game for preventative medicine. I mean, what if you could read your future health, all from a single drop of blood? I know, right? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But that's the incredible possibility we're exploring today. Just think about it. Getting a heads up on a serious illness years, maybe even a decade before you feel a single symptom. You see, for so many chronic diseases, think heart failure, diabetes, by the time you get a diagnosis, the problem is already pretty far along. But here's the thing. Our bodies are always talking. They're sending out these subtle chemical clues years in advance. The big problem has always been, well, how do we decode that language? Okay, so let's get into it. How exactly can we listen in on this biological conversation to predict what's coming down the road for our health? Well, the answer is in this amazing field called metabolomics. Think of it like this. If your DNA is the blueprint for your body, then metabolites are the actual workers and the materials on the job site. We're talking about the small molecules, like amino acids, fatty acids, that are swimming around in your blood. By looking at them, we get a live, real-time snapshot of what's actually happening inside your cells. It's like a chemical fingerprint of your health, right now. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. This fingerprint isn't simple. Not at all. It's made up of hundreds of different signals all interacting at once in this huge, complicated network. Trying to find a meaningful pattern in all that biological noise, it's like trying to understand a conversation in a language you've never even heard before. So if we need to learn a new, incredibly complex language, who are the best language learners on the planet right now? You guessed it, AI models. Let's see how the researchers tackled this. And this is where MetaboLM enters the picture. Researchers built a special kind of AI, pretty similar to the large language models that power things like ChatGPT, but instead of teaching it to understand English or code, they taught it to understand the language of our metabolism. So how in the world do you teach an AI to do that? Well, this chart gives us a bird's eye view. The researchers basically sent the AI to medical school. They fed it a massive data set from the UK Biobank, which contains health data from hundreds of thousands of real people. The AI just crunched through all that information, learning these super intricate patterns of our bodies. And the way they trained it was just brilliant. It happened in two key steps. First, there was pre-training. The AI analyzed blood samples from over 83,000 healthy people. This was all about learning a baseline. What does a normal, healthy metabolic language sound like? Then came fine-tuning. The AI started looking at data from people who, down the line, developed one of 16 different chronic diseases. This taught it to recognize those super subtle phrases, those little metabolic shifts that are the earliest warning signs of trouble. Okay, so the AI has gone to school. It's learned the language of health and even the different dialects of disease. Now for the moment of truth. How well did it actually perform on the test? So, how did MetaboLM do on its final exam? Let's take a look at its report card. What the model produces is a single, really powerful number. It's called a metabolomic risk score, or MetaboRS for short. The idea is, from just one blood sample, it spits out a personalized score that can predict your future risk for a whole range of diseases. And when it comes to the model's performance, well, it really all comes down to this one very important number. So what's so special about the number 13? Well, for 13 out of the 16 diseases they tested, the AI's risk score was more accurate than a tool called the ASCVD risk score. Now, this is a big deal because the ASCVD score is a well-established tool that doctors use right now to predict a patient's 10-year risk of heart disease. And get this, the AI wasn't just better for heart conditions, it also outperformed on predictions for things like dementia and rheumatoid arthritis. And this chart right here just lays it all out visually. It's fantastic. See that purple dot? That represents the predictive power of the AI's score, the MetaboRS. Just look at it. For dementia, Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, in case after case, that purple dot is higher than the other established risk scores. It's like the AI is just seeing a much clearer picture of our future health, way earlier than we ever could before. This really takes us beyond just having a better risk score. It starts to feel like we're looking at something much, much more powerful. Almost like a new kind of health crystal ball. And you don't have to take my word for it. The researchers themselves put it perfectly in their paper. They said this model can predict disease risk a decade into the future without any other clinical information. I mean, no family history, no blood pressure readings, just the data from a single blood draw. And it still beats the traditional methods.
That's just incredible. But honestly, this is the slide that really gave me goosebumps. It tracks specific metabolites in people who eventually developed dementia. That blue line, that's the healthy group. The red line represents the people who years later got sick. Now look closely. See how the red line starts to pull away from the healthy baseline? That's happening more than 10 years before a clinical diagnosis was ever made. This is literally the body whispering the first signs of disease, a full decade in advance.
And that's the real magic here. The AI isn't just spitting out some abstract number. It's pinpointing these specific chemical signals that are starting to go haywire. Just imagine what a doctor could do with that kind of early warning. It opens up this whole new window for prevention, for early intervention. It could be a complete game changer. So, what does all this mean for you, for the future of medicine? And what are the next steps before something like this could become a part of our regular checkups? Okay, now it's really important to be realistic here. This first study had its limitations. It was done mostly on people of European descent from the UK, and this group tends to be a bit healthier than the general population. So we definitely need more research to see if these results hold up across more diverse groups of people. And the technology they used, well, it can't detect every single metabolite in the blood. Not yet, anyway. But even with those limitations, this is a huge step forward. What this research gives us is a powerful new framework for proactive medicine. It fits right into this big shift we're seeing towards truly personalized healthcare, all driven by AI. We're starting to move away from just treating sickness and towards a future where we can predict it and hopefully prevent it altogether. All from the information that's been hiding in a single drop of our blood. So it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. Will your next health checkup be read by an AI? It might not be tomorrow, but a future where AI reads our unique metabolic fingerprint to help guide our long-term health, well, that's not science fiction anymore.